Welcome to day 5 of Hebrew 2 at Bryan College, spring quarter 2024. We have one last snow day, so we will do the reading for today online. If we look at our schedule, we're doing Genesis 2:19 to 23. And the vocab would be 141 to 150. I'll not require you to take the vocab quiz, but do learn those words, and I'll just trust you. You don't have to turn in the quiz. So what we're looking at is 219, and we have a converted perfect Vav consecutive. The Lord God fashioned from the Adamah all the living creatures of the field and every bird of the air. And he brought them, so that's going to be your hiphil of bow, to the Adam to see what he will call to it, and everything which he called to it, that is, the man called to it, Nefesh Hayah, that was its name. Now, this verse is interesting for a couple of reasons, and some translations will translate verse 19 as a pluperfect. And you can see that ESV does that. The Lord God had formed. Others just do it formed. NIV 84 had formed. NLT formed. Formed. Interested to see what the NETS does with the Septuagint. And out of the earth, God furthermore formed all the animals of the field. The reason this may be a pluperfect is because if you just read it as it's written, it seems like this is contradicting the first account, because there God created the animals before he created man, and here man is naming the animals, but this statement of their creation is after the man already exists. Now, there is no pluperfect form in Hebrew. We just have the imperfect and perfects. But there is at least one place where the Old Testament itself reads one of these as a pluperfect, and it's in Genesis 12, where if you read the text as it is, it looks like God's command to tell Abraham to leave to go to Canaan is after the death of his father, and yet the Old Testament itself in Nehemiah and the New Testament in Stephen's speech, they both agree and read that as a pluperfect, that had happened before. And it's a little unclear to me if there's a clue in the text why they're reading it as pluperfect, but the fact that the Old Testament itself and confirmed in the New Testament, it seems to be the standard assumption of all when Stephen is speaking to the council there, is that you should read 12:1 as a pluperfect, but when you look at it, it's just the standard forms that we've seen. It makes me wonder if there's something going on here that a native reader would see as a pluperfect, It is interesting that both the Samaritan Pentateuch and the Septuagint add a word, and you saw how the NETS translated it furthermore. It seems to me that the translators are wrestling with this a bit, and the answer may be pluperfect. I don't know if Gesenius speaks of that. It looks like he's just talking about form here, but you do get some interpreters who will read this as a pluperfect. And if it is a pluperfect, then there is no chronological difference there. The Lord God fashioned from the Adamah every living creature of the field and every bird of the heavens, and he brought, so that's your Hiphiel, to the Adam to see what he would call to it. And everything which he called to it, that is the Adam, the Nefesh Hayah, the living creature, that was its name. Now, in terms of the narrative here, God is having Adam do a godlike thing in that he's having Adam name things. Naming is showing dominion. But notice that all of this is set up by this statement that Adam, it's not good that the Adam be alone. So I think we're meant to read 19 and following as God showing Adam that he's alone. He's bringing animals. Adam is doing a godlike thing, and he's naming, just like God names the day, the light day, and the darkness night. Here, Adam is naming creatures, but the purpose of naming the creatures to me seems like God is helping Adam realize that he's alone. And the Adam called names to all the behemoth, so all the, I guess, domesticated animals, and to the bird of the heaven, and to the living creature of the field. But for Adam, and this is really interesting because it doesn't say the Adam. So you have the Adam here, but this is just Adam. And when you have the critical apparatus, they do suggest reading the Adam, but it's not written as the Adam, it's written as a Adam. He did not find a helper according to his front, and that's that kenigdo word that's people debate over much. And the Lord God, Hiphiel, caused to fall a tardema on the Adam. Now, this tardema is an interesting word because it's the same word. Tardema falls on Abraham during that covenant ceremony with the birds, and it's only once Adam falls into a tardema that God comes to him. And that may be foreshadowing that Abraham's offspring would almost collapse, and then God would come and bring life to the darkness. So the Lord God caused a tardema to fall on the Adam, and he slept. So this is pretty common where you're switching the subject, and it's only kind of the logic that lets you know that he fell and he slept, but you do have that all throughout the Hebrew Bible. And he took, so it goes back to God now. He took one, usually translated rib, A little bit of a strange word, side here. I don't think he took his whole side out, but it is interesting that he's using the rib for like similar the side of the ark. So I'm not really sure what to do about that. It is interesting that this word in the Septuagint, plura, John is going to pick that up, that when Jesus had fallen into the ultimate tardema of death, that he was wounded in his pleura. And I wonder if John isn't helping us tie that story with this part of the Genesis story. And he shut up, and so you've got a silent shvan. That's why you have a begad kafat dagesh. He shut up the flesh underneath it. And then it says, and the Lord God built the Selach, which he took from the Adam. He built that into a woman, and he brought her to the Adam. Now, what's interesting about that built word is in Greek, it's this oikodomeo, he house built. And that's how that word bana is used elsewhere. It's like build a house, build a temple. The oikodomeo word is interesting in the New Testament because anytime it talks about edifying the church, nearly any time the word edify, it's always this word house built. And you wonder if they're not making the connection. God is house building the woman, house building this rib into a woman, and then bringing that to the Adam. You wonder if there's some kind of meta-narrative idea going on where ultimately it's God who's house building Eve and bringing her to Adam. If we look back at our reading, we're reading through verse 23, so verse 23, and the Adam said, this time, this the time, this is the time, I think, maybe you translate it, etsem from my etsem, flesh from my flesh, to this one, it is called Isha, because from Ish, this one is taken. A little bit of strange form here. I would have expected a doubled dagesh. I wondered before if this wasn't a call passive. I don't think they list it that way. Seems like Gesenius, Couch, and Callie discuss why you don't have that double middle dagesh, but it would mean the same, virtually the same thing either way you did it, because this one was taken from the Ish. And I guess Samaritan Pentateuch, Septuagint, and the Targum say from her Ish. So an interesting section. Do you read that over and over until you can kind of volume read it without ACOT? You'll be surprised how much that will help your Hebrew, just rereading the things you've already read. Do take time to study the vocab, but I'm not requiring you to turn in the quiz. I'll just take your word for that. Once you've done that, I can give you the quiz points for today. And I do believe that tomorrow, that on Wednesday, we'll have face-to-face classes again. So I am looking forward to seeing you then, and I'll talk to you next time. Thanks.